Hi, welcome back to Faith and Conviction. I'm your host, Ray Harris. I want to welcome you to this week's Torah portion. We are in Torah portion 47. 4:7, again, we are in the book of Deuteronomy, known in Hebrew as Devarim, which is translated as words. We are in Deuteronomy 11, verse 26 through chapter 16, verse 17. The key word this time is re'eh, and it means see. Some also translate it as behold. This is actually a very cool idea, and when you come over into the New Testament, we're going to see something pretty cool about this. So hang in here. I think you'll like this one. So our key word is re'eh, and it connects back to Strong's numbering H7200. Now, if you've been keeping up this year, that might sound familiar, and it is, because I want you to take a consideration, which is something that goes on with this. Portion 4 and portion 14. Portion 4 and then 1-4, 14. Now, Brown Driver Briggs says that this Hebrew word means to see, to look at, to inspect, to perceive, to consider. Now, it also means to appear. And that was the definition that we looked at in portion 4 and portion 14. This time it is about seeing, behold, consider. So eSword has this translate out a whole bunch of different ways. Now, when I mean eSword, that's just a tool I do for my research. The King James Concordance is what I'm talking about. The King James translates this word as see, seen, saw, seest, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Look, looked, behold, beheld, things of that nature. So Deuteronomy 11 verse 26, the King James says, behold. That's our Hebrew word translated, H7200. So it says, behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. The complete Jewish Bible says, see. So we look out, we see. Again, I'm going to use two different versions of the Jewish Publication Society. The 1917 translation, 1917, says, behold. The 1967 that I hold here says, see. The Apostolic Bible Polyglot, because it has the Septuagint in it, says that the Septuagint uses the Greek word edu. That would be iota, delta, omicron, upsilon, edu. That is Greek number G2400. So the Apostolic Bible Polyglot translates it as behold. So even in this one verse, we're seeing two different translations into the English, see or behold. Now for me, this is just me, but when I see something, I don't necessarily consider it. I'm just observing it. Like I can see things flying around out here on the grass. I see it, but I don't consider it. It's just what's happening. But I think when you say behold, like in the English, you're really wanting someone to grab the attention and to consider what is really going on. So that's just me. That's kind of how I see it. So Strong's number into the Septuagint is G2400. So Thayer says that means behold, to see. It's also translated with the word lo, not L-O-W, but L-O. And that's a very interesting word that we don't really use much anymore, but it is in the King James. So go to Matthew chapter 7, verse 3 and 4. I think this is an interesting connection for the Greek of the New Testament through the Greek of the Old Testament into the Hebrew Scriptures and seeing that Hebrew word. So here's the King James of Matthew 7, verse 3 and 4. And why beholdest? Now that is not G20 or 2400. It is not that Greek word edu. It is a Greek word blepo. So I have notes on this at the bottom of the page. Take a look at that. These are two different words. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest? Now that's a different Greek word again, G2657, and it's kata naeo. So take a look at the bottom of the page to see these differences. Again, this is not edu, but all of this is a play on words, okay? And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, that's Edu, G2400, a beam is in thine own eye. Now what is Jesus doing here? Of course he's doing an inspection here, okay? Who am I versus who somebody else is. He's putting it on me. I need to be looking at myself first. But this is really an interesting play on words about behold and consider, which is exactly what this Hebrew word means. It means to see, to inspect, to consider, to appear. So these are the powerful things with this Hebrew word, which takes, I guess, 3 different Greek words to give us the idea, and into the English, we use basically 2 different English words, beholdest, beheld, and the word consider. What if we were to take this idea of consider, which is one of the Hebrew definitions, and put it back over here in Deuteronomy 11:26. Consider that I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. We go over here to Matthew 7 and verse 4. The beginning of the verse says, or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of your eye, and consider, and we would probably put the word not, consider not the beam that is in thine own eye. So we are being asked by Moses and Messiah to consider very important things. And of course it's, you're looking at, from Moses, he's talking about doing what God says. And Jesus is saying, okay, then that you're doing what God says, are you considering yourself? And that's powerful. And all of these, because we went from the Hebrew word to see what the Greek word was that translated it, see if that's over in the Greek New Testament and into the English. Seeing these connections about how God is trying to get us to hear him and follow him. So I hope it's been a blessing to you this week. Until next time, continue to seek God, know Messiah, find hope.